Jockey Club gallops are spread over 500 acres, and then there's a couple of gallops that we lease in the village, which serve those yards that are based nearer to Lambourn rather than Upper Lambourn. So it's a big operation here, and yeah, it certainly keeps us busy. We are going to go to a gallop called the Back of the Hill, which we should see some jumpers coming up there this morning. A few people said it was just riding a bit quick the last couple of days, so I got my tractor driver just to power harrow it yesterday, which will mean he should have gone in and kind of alleviated it and decompacted it. So I want to go and see what kind of print the horses are making on there, and we'll see if we can grab a word with a jumps trainer while we're there. So that's the first port of call, and then on the way back from there we're going to have a look at the straight mile. We're going to see, we've had a couple of mils of rain overnight, so we're going to see if that's had any impact on the grass this morning and see if it's safe enough and soft enough now for some horses to work up there. So that's the immediate plan of attack. If my phone is quiet in the mornings and everybody's got out safely and exercised and got back to the stables, the trainers have gone off to the races, then we've done a good job. And hopefully without any dramas along the way. But yeah, the trainers won't be afraid to tell me when a gallop's wrong, but that's what we're here for. Here's Jamie Snowden, so I'm just going to grab a word with a couple of his riders just to see what this gallop was riding like. Was that riding a bit better this morning, a bit deeper?
The weather is lovely.
Much better, a bit deeper than last week.
Yeah, you harrowed it a bit more. Yeah, that rode super there.
Good.
Lovely
good.
Through jump for that.
Super.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Good. Morning, Jamie. Morning.
We're on telly.
Are you schooling many tomorrow?
We're schooling.
We'll see how much rain we get today, and yeah.
Are we forecast a bit?
A little bit, a couple of mil. It might be enough, it might not be. We'll see what we get.
There's a bit this week, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, thanks.
Thank you.
Good. We've just come up to the back of the hill here, and we spoke to Jamie's lads and lasses, and just to get a bit of feedback from the jocks as to how this gallop was riding. So it should hopefully be a bit deeper this morning, and we can see the footprints making much more of a print. It's quite sticky this morning because of the rain. The wax has congealed a bit this morning. We're right on the county boundary here, so West Berkshire over there, Wiltshire over there, and Oxfordshire over there. And this is the gallop that the outsiders come and use as well. So your Ben Paulings and your Kim Baileys and your Charlie Longstons will all come and use this, but you won't see a flat horse set foot on this gallop. You bring somebody here that's never been to Lambourn before, they're utterly gobsmacked by what goes on. You know, it's an incredible place, you know, second only to Newmarket in terms of the concentration of racehorses here. So it is, you get blasé about it when you see it every day, but it really is unique. Right, we're just going to have a look at the straight mile here, which is the primary flat gallop in Lambourn, which opened last week, and it's dried up a bit, so we've had a couple of mils of rain this morning. So I just want to see if that's made a difference to the going, and if the flat boys will be able to work up here tomorrow. So we're going to just have a little feel with the stick and see if that rain's got into it yet. So I know that when a flat trainer rings me and they ask about the ground, I can give them an informed opinion about the going. And no, I think we'd want a bit of rain yet. It'd be quick enough, this ground, so we'd want a bit more rain today. So yeah, I don't think they'd hurt themselves on here, but you'd want a top of the ground horse on here. It probably needs a, but look, the stick's going in. Stick's going in pretty readily, you know. You know, that's not, you know, it's going in there. These are a new initiative that we're trialling up here on behalf of the BHA, and this was part of the university study into what colours the horses can best see. Yellow and white were the preferred colours, so we swapped the Velcro over here. The BHA have supplied this wonderful these wonderful illuminous covers here, so we're going to put them up here in Lambourn and try them for 6 months or a year and try and just get a bit of feedback from the horsemen, really. So we'll give these a go, and hopefully the jockeys will say they see them a bit better. The lads are just installing these railings here on this horse walk, essentially, which the Jockey Club have built as part of some new yards that are being developed here. We've got Archie Watson's second yard here, and there's a plot of land here which will shortly be developed into a new training yard. So we've installed this horse walk as part of the development to ensure that the horses can get off the road and they can access the gallops. I always think of Lambourn as a bit of a monopoly board, and this would be, you know, a yellow or a green, one of the high value colours here, if you can see that analogy. But we've got to get the horses off the main roads. There are more cars on the road than ever before, more horses, and we where possible, we don't want the two to mix together. We want to keep them separated.
Welcome to Chapel Forge. We work in the local area in the Lambourn Valley. This is where we operate, and everybody meets in the morning before we go out to work. Obviously you see it's a little bit quiet here today, but tonight the young lads will all be practicing making their shoes on the forges. We've got the forges here that are lit using the coke, and another one there, and we've got a gas forge, all different types, so we've got a variation of different ways of contracting the heat so they can make the shoes. I'll take you through to the storeroom and show you the variations of shoes that are used for all types of horses, where they're race horses. As you see here, these type of shoes are very light. These would be used on race horses that are in work, sort of like pre-race. And then as you come along a bit further, you've got sort of like horses that are used, shoes that can be used for pleasure horses, eventers and things like that. And then you've got even bigger ones up here, you can reach them, that can be used for the, put them that way, right way up, that can be used for the really big shire horses and the driving horses. So as you see here, we have all the different types of plates that are used for horses that are racing. As you see, they're very, very lightweight aluminium. That would probably be used on a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. And then you can move up to the bigger sections, which are around about here. And these would be used on mainly the jumpers that I work on at 7 Barrows. So, and even the new style ones that have came in over the last 5 years, the copper, very popular in the flat world. Copper coated to give natural elements into the feet that they say that improve the feet and everything like that. But I'm a traditionalist and I like to use the aluminiums. But I use these on all my horses at Nicky Henderson's and Seven Barrows. This is where me and my son work most days of the week. As you see, Sam is in the process of just plating a horse that's due to run in the next couple of days, and he's just in the process of dressing his foot. Has he got much foot there, son?
No, he never really grows that much, to be fair.
No, that's right. Leave plenty. We always like to leave plenty on this time of year because of the natural conditions with the rain, and sometimes I know we've had it quite dry. Horses need natural protection on their feet because they're going through different terrains and running on different conditions and everything. So we tend not to dress them back too hard because they need every bit of protection they can get. Most of these horses wear aluminium plates at Seven Barrows for the simple reason they just don't go on the roads. They literally cross the road and then they're on the gallops. And it's and if you haven't got to keep changing the shoes, their feet remain stronger. And these plates would last up to 3 weeks on their feet before they get changed, which is the norm. Around about 21 days, 25 days they get changed. My father worked here in the sort of like late 60s, early 70s until Peter Warren finished. He was did the travelling head lad with another fella here called Tony Driscoll, and so I spent quite a bit of my childhood out here when I was a young man. So yeah, it is very, very nice. I mean, his old grandfather would be very proud of him seeing him working here today. He really would. But yeah, it is special to be working alongside your son, keeping you in order and in check. But no, it's we have quite a good working relationship, don't we?
Yeah, you'd like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, but no, bless him. He knows I'm only looking out for the best of him, and it's nice that you can give him your experience, especially working with really, really top quality horses.
We're really lucky we've got this amazing gym here. We've also now got a hydrotherapy pool, Alter G, anti-gravity treadmill. We've also got a really lovely simulator room where the jockeys have 2 simulators where jockey coaches come and train the youngsters as well, and also they're used as part of the rehab package too.
When I first hurt myself 8 years ago, it was pretty major because I had quite bad brain damage and I had to come here to recuperate. So I was here for 18 months from 2012 to 13. And they've got all the equipment that I need, really. They've got lots of things up here in the gym, and the anti-gravity treadmill and the hydrotherapy pool. So I spend as much time as possible doing all that, you know. It's just good for when you're recuperating, I would say.
It definitely is an absolutely key part of their recovery now, and that generally we get them fitter and more prepared then to go back, and hopefully more capable of withstanding a fall because they're fitter and fit to fall.
Think about it sitting into my hand the whole time. Good. Pain-wise, how's that?
Good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to let it go, mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I broke my humerus and damaged the nerves in a, funny enough, not on a horse, in a taxi accident in Dubai, which was a couple of days before the World Cup meeting, which was very unfortunate, but that's life. The break, I don't think is the big issue, to be honest. Obviously I've got to have another X-ray, stroke CT on it over the next sort of week, 10 days. Just to see how it's healing, because it's got a rod straight down through the middle and then I think 4 pins around the top and 1 down the bottom. But just to sort of see how that's healing. But it's the nerve damage that we've got, which is something that's a little bit harder to predict, and sort of they grow extremely slowly, so you can't sort of rush them. It's just a case of sitting tight and keeping everything else moving, I'd imagine, and hopefully it comes back sooner rather than later. Obviously, as a jockey, it's a place you don't want to visit too often.
Thanks, Sam.
Well, no, you don't, because obviously you're here for a reason. But, you know, the guys do a fantastic job. George Baker was a bit like mother hen when I was in Dubai in hospital, ringing saying, right, I've got you booked in. And he actually made a mistake, bless him. I haven't told him yet, so if you can hammer him on TV, it was actually booked in for next Tuesday, not yesterday. So, but the guys actually found a slot for me an hour later yesterday and got me in and started a little bit of treatment. I've broken collarbones before and bits and bobs, and I actually broke my ankle before we had sort of these facilities, and it was a lot harder to sort of get yourself back to fitness and everything else, because you're sort of trying to do it off your own back a little bit. And so I suppose with some of us it's a little bit like the blind leading the blind, but when you've got a facility like this, it's exceptional. We're very, very lucky to have it.
Okay, good. And down again.
Multitasking is not good. Try to keep my back down, keep my shoulder down.
God, it's brain power, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'm used to that.
It does cost a lot of money to run this centre, and we've also got 2 other centres in and around the country, and it's all funded via donations, so it's absolutely essential that we are able to receive those.
I love being a vet. I'm one of those people that wanted to be a vet when I was a tiny child, and then when I made it into vet school, what I wanted to be was an equine vet, and now here I am, so I'm literally living my childhood dream. I really enjoy working with horses. I really enjoy the component of the job that is interacting with people. I like that some days my job is driving around beautiful countryside, talking to nice people, and I also like that we do some pretty complicated things in here in the clinic, and so I get that really nice mixture of straightforward days out on the road, you know, doing vaccines, doing teeth, dealing with leisure horses, dealing with the people, and then I also get days in the clinic dealing with complicated cases, a bit more problem solving, a bit more of a diagnostic challenge. So the bit of both for me is brilliant. Facilities probably haven't changed that much beyond just being regularly updated, but it really pushes us to stay right at the forefront of the medicine that we practice and the quality of the service that we provide. So, you know, myself and a couple of the other vets are working towards postgraduate qualifications just to make sure that we are ahead of the curve with everything else that's going on. And that's one of the other nice things about not being an ambulatory practice, not working out the back of the car, is that when you need something that is a bit more of a challenge or a bit more sort of diagnostic care, we can, with relatively low cost to the owner, bring them in, get a second opinion, get a specialist opinion, and progress the medicine that way. So this is our lab. We are a contagious metritis accredited lab, so that means that for all the mares going to stud, they have to be clear of this disease before they're allowed to be covered by a stallion. So all of those samples get processed here. We can do in-house bloods, in-house tracheal wash samples to test for different kinds of respiratory disease in horses in training, joint samples, bacteriology, cytology, pretty much you name it, we can do it in-house. There are a few very specific tests that we have to send away for, but actually we can do most things in-house. We've got 2 lab techs who are here throughout all of the working day, and all of our out-of-hours staff are trained to do the basics out of hours as well, so this facility is basically open 24/7. So when a horse comes in for colic surgery and has to be knocked down as a matter of urgency, this is the first room that they come into. This is a very carefully specified knockdown box. So what you'll find is that the floor is slightly bungee underfoot, but it's a very careful amount of bungee in that it is soft, but it isn't too unstable like a bouncy castle, because horses are fight or flight animals, and we don't want them when they're recovering from an anaesthetic to panic and run away. So this box stays dark, quiet when they're waking up, but we also need to be able to knock them down without causing any bruises, so the floor has to give a little. It has to not be slippery when it's wet, and so we have been through a few permutations before settling on this current setup as being ideal for that situation. So the horse comes in, is anaesthetised in here, gets picked up on the winch. Our winch can carry up to metric ton if we need to, and then gets taken through into the prep room. This is our dirty ops and prep room. So this is where we prepare the horse for surgery, but also get them stabilised under anaesthesia. And then once they're stabilised anaesthesia, they get wheeled through into the sterile room that you can see beyond, which is where the actual surgery takes place. And then once the surgery is completed, they come back through this way, they get put in here, the lights get turned off, everything goes very, very quiet, and they get left to recover quietly. So this is a horse that had colic surgery yesterday. Colic surgery, in other terms, is an exploratory laparotomy. So basically he was showing signs of being in abdominal discomfort, and we opened him up to find out what was going on. And these first few days in the post-operative period are really important, because that's when, if things are going to go badly, they will do. So the things we keep a really close eye on, which Becky is just checking for now, is the colour of his gums, because that will tell us whether he is becoming septic, whether he's well hydrated, how much he has a jugular catheter in to allow us to give him medications directly into the vein, so we check that that's patent. We pay close attention to his heart rate and how much his guts are moving, because those things tell us firstly what his pain level is, but also how quickly his body is returning to normal after having been first very sick and then having a colic surgery. We also keep a very close eye on how much he's moving through. So you've never seen a group of people get quite so excited about poo, but it means that his guts are turning over normally and everything's working as it should. What you can see with the hay outside the door in a human hospital, they'll give you chewing gum to stimulate flavour and taste, and like you're going to have a meal. We can't feed him yet because we're not satisfied that his guts are moving completely normally. And so the hay is there to make him think about food, think about flavour and eating, try to get his guts to start moving, but without getting re-obstructed from having fed him again too quickly. You know, I've been working in Lambourn for 4 years now, and I, go to yards and they all want to know how my new house is and how my marriage is going, and like, are you pregnant yet? It gets asked a lot, but that sort of sense of being part of a community that I think is something that's quite unique to hear.
Hi, my name's Richard. I'm the owner of EJ Wicks. This is in our manufacturing room 1, which is the rug room. In here we make all kinds of things from blinkers to tack bags. At the moment we're making paddock rollers for a local customer. We've got an order of 15. You see on the sewing machine, very old traditional sewing machines that have been here for 50, 60 years, Tiffany. What do you reckon about that? So Tiffany's our master saddler, leads our team of saddlers. The rollers that are being made are used at the paddock and often in displaying horses as they go around at the sales, or for an owner. In this case it's a very prominent owner in the area, having a number of sheets done for a new rehabilitation yard. So I imagine these are going to be used when the sheikh comes in and has a look round and all his horses get displayed. He can see how they're doing in rehabilitation and from injury and things like that. We also make I mentioned blinkers, exercise sheets, non-slip pads, blinkers for horses, tack bags for farriers. What else do we make? Yorkshire boots, Paston wraps, basically anything that's used in horses, we can make on old and new machines. I mean, this is the newest machine we've got. The older machines are the same machines that they've been for 50, 60 years. New machines just work a bit quicker, but the techniques of attaching the binding, cutting the rugs out to patterns have remained exactly the same. The horses' shapes are very the same. They're probably a bit smaller these days. We don't quite make so many big rugs, but the techniques are very much the same. We still use presses to cut out the letters. You can see are being put on, and they're all stuck on with glue and sewn on. But we're able to do small scale bespoke work. So 15 sheets, for example, is to us a reasonable order, but it's something that we can make quite easily, whereas if it was, as most things made aboard these days, it's not, the scales just don't work that way, the time scales of doing it and the economies of scale. So watch your feet, because there's rugs everywhere. There's rugs that have come in for repair, there's rugs that have come in for wash. So the building was originally a harness making shop. Wicks moved here in 1905, This is the saddlery. So there's 3 workbenches. Louise is another one of our saddlers. This is where the master saddler works, who you've just seen Tiffany, and Erin's working over there. Repairs that come in this very high-tech system. Next week's pile, this week's pile to be done, and then the saddles you see behind. So that most of the work that we do is working on racing gear. So re-rubbering reins, new girth straps and saddles, fixing head collars, all the bits of kit that's being used. There has been a move over the last few years away from leather, so a lot more synthetic tack is being used, but still the mainstay of the repairs that we do is the leather work. It takes 7 years to train to become a saddler, and then an additional 6 or 7 years to become a master saddler, where you do a number of courses from flocking to saddle fitting and all that kind of thing. But they use very sharp tools and implements. The quality is key, and I think it's why our customers come to use us, because they know that we check everything they use. We make sure that it's safe for them to use in the exercise or the race, and they feel reassured. So we've got Kiri and Sue working in the shop. These guys know everything about racing and pony racing and pony riding and horse riding and everything. And you can see we make the most of our space. It's very racing orientated, but we deal with all kinds of equestrian disciplines, eventing, hunting, pony club, general hacking around, all that kind of thing as well. As I said, there's been a move away from leather to synthetic. I think it's easier to look after, it's cheaper, and there's less care and attention needed on the yard. But traditionalists and more of the older racing customer does still use leather work, and at racing it's still seen as a better product to use because it looks smarter, but also there's a safety element that leather will have a breaking point, whereas synthetic tack doesn't have a breaking point. So you can imagine horse could get caught up in it. And we're able to keep going because of Lambourn. Without the training that exists around here, we wouldn't be able to employ 3 saddlers, and the fact that we employ 3 saddlers brings in people from eventing, hunting and other areas. So it's like a circle that keeps us going. So the racing keeps us going, we're able to employ the staff who can do the repairs, and because of that other people come to us.